Good morning, children. Welcome back. We'll continue with Unit 4.4. This is Video 2, The Height of the Ridiculous by Oliver Wendell Holmes. I've already done the explanation of the poem. Let's see to the appreciation of the poem. And appreciation of the poem, children, you have to write it in a paragraph format. Okay, so this is the paragraph format. Please don't write it in form. Okay, in point form. You write it in a paragraph. So let's see what is the appreciation. The poem, The Height of the Ridiculous, is written by the poet Oliver Wendell Holmes. Then the rhyme scheme of the poem. If you look at the rhyme scheme, you already know the rhyming words. Okay. If you look at the poem, if you are there with your textbook, children, in front of you, look at the first stanza. You have time. Okay. The last words there, time, mood, say, good. Okay. So time is A. Mood will be B, say will be C, and good will be B again because it's rhyming. Mood, good. Okay. So, therefore, the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B. And there are rhyming words such as mood, good, die, I, limb. Okay. These are the rhyming words. You can find the others from the other stanzas. Now, the poet wrote some lines while he was in a happy mood. While reading them, he found them so funny that he thought he would actually die of laughter. When the poet gave his servant the poem, he started reading it. The servant read the first line and started grinning. As he continued reading, the grin grew broader and he started chuckling. At the fourth line, he started roaring with laughter, so much that his waistband split and he burst 5 buttons when he read the fifth line. He went into a laughing fit that seriously alarmed the poet. Alarmed the poet means made him a little frightened. Okay. Now, observing the effect of his humor, the poet decided never to write so humorously again. So this is already explanation of the poem. What the poem is talking about. The poet, he writes a poem in a happy mood and he talks about, he calls his servant, okay, to give it to the printer, right? And when the servant reads, it starts grinning in the first line. What happens? Then later on, the grin becomes broader and then the chuckling sound. And the fourth line, it's roar of laughter and the waistband split and the 5 buttons, okay, burst. So you can say the fifth line. And then he falls into a fit. Now, the poet has used several figures of speech, such as we have repetition, hyperbole, onomatopoeia, antithesis. Okay, so you have some of the figures of speech. We have already seen that in the earlier video. Now, let's take an example. I watched that wretched man. So here you have its alliteration because the alphabet W. You can see W is repeated. Now, the special feature of the poem is that it draws our attention and holds it right up to the end. Draws our attention means we really want to know what is the poem about, okay? And holds it right up to the end, meaning till the end we don't know what is happening, and we are very attentive to know what is going to happen. Now, the poem is an interesting one. It is a poem that makes one laugh. We wonder what the poet has written about that can actually make the reader tumble into a fit. Now, what the poet wrote, we don't know. But we are a little curious, no? We want to know. We wonder what the poet has written that, the reader, the servant, he laughed so much that he tumbled into a fit, okay? Then I like the poem because it has lots of humor and it makes us laugh. So this is the appreciation of the poem. Please write it down in your notebook, okay? Because this is important. Appreciation of the poems are important. Let's see to some of the questions that are there in your textbook. If you look at the poems on your right hand side, you have some questions. So I've just put it down so that we can do it together. So keep your textbook open there. Okay. You have these questions in your textbook. In what frame of mind the poet writes some lines? In what frame of mind, meaning what mood was he? The poet was in a wondrous, merry mood, a happy mood. Now, what was the contrast in the narrator and his servant? Contrast means what was the difference, no? When you're talking about the narrator and the servant, how were they different from each other? Okay, the narrator was a slender person and small in stature. He was small in stature means short in height. And he was a serious and sober man. No, he said that, no, because he said, when I read my poem, I would have died. I would die. So, but he's a sober man, no, albeit I'm a sober man. So, whereas the servant was a huge man, physically he was of a mighty limb. That means he was strong. And that is, he had a huge, big height and was tall and strong. He also had a terrific sense of humor. So that is the difference between the narrator and the servant. When did the servant expand on servant's grin? Okay, so when did he grin? The servant grinned when he read the first line. And when was the chuckling noise heard? The chuckling noise was heard when he read the third line. Now, which line suggests that the servant was totally out of control? Which line? The sixth line. He burst 5 buttons off and tumbled in a fit. That shows he was totally out of control. This line suggests that the servant was totally out of control. Then what was the outcome of this experience on the poet? What happens to this? The servant became sick and the poet had to take care of him for 10 days and nights. And as a result, the poet decided that he would never again write such funny poems again. Okay, that was the experience on him. Now, these are some questions from your English workshop. You can open up your books, children. See that on page number 172. Okay, now these you can do it on your own and just discuss. Find out expressions from the poem that indicates funny moments. Okay, so you have some expressions. I've already given you an example. I laughed as I would die. Okay, I laughed as I would die. So you can explain. Okay, write out expressions. What are the different ones? That his face was, was all upon the grin. The grin grew broad. All that shows what indicates funny moments. Okay. So all those lines you can write up. Then order of sequence. Arrange the following reactions in their proper order. Now this you have been given here around 6 sentences. They are not in order according to what the poem is. Okay. So you should see what happens first, what happens second, what happens third. Accordingly, children, you can put it. So that you can do it on your own. That's for homework. Then form pairs and find out the various rhyming words in the poem and 2 of your own. So rhyming words, complete the following table. If you're talking about here, you have what? You have queer, no? Q-U-E-E-R, queer. And you can use another word, year, H-E-A-R, year. Of your own, you can write near, fear, whatever. Within him, grin. Okay? Like this also, you can do the other rhyming words. These are easy. Okay, rhyming man, you can write can. Or you can write, now of your own, you can write ran, fan, ban. Split, you can put fit. Split, fit. Then way, pay. Then him, limb. Die, I. Okay, then mood, good. So like that, the rhyming words, you can complete this table. Then you have matched the lines with the figures of speech. Now you have these lines. Some we have already done in the earlier video, but we can see these. Now, in wondrous merry mood. Now, what is the answer for that? In wondrous merry mood, okay, that is tautology. Why tautology, children? Because wondrous and merry means the same. So when 2 words of the same meaning is put together, that's tautology. Then, they were so queer, so very queer. Now, these 2 words are repeated. Words are repeated. So, it will be what? Repetition. Okay? It will be repetition. Then, and saw him peep within. Now, saw him peep within. Here we say it's a hyperbole. It's an over-exaggerated statement. I saw him peep within. So, he's already peeping, but within means you are talking, it's exaggerated. So, hyperbole. Okay? So, the third one is hyperbole. Then you have the grin grew broad. Now, the grin grew broad. You can see G and G repeated the alphabet. So, when alphabet is repeated, children, what is the figure of speech? Alliteration. Okay, so it's alliteration. Fifth one, and short form year to year. Again, you have your words repeated. Okay, so when you have repetition 2 times given here, so this is another repetition. And he broke into a row. Okay, broke into a row. So here it is sound. Okay, roar is sound. So onomatopoeia. And 10 days and nights with sleepless eyes. 10 days and nights with sleepless eyes. Now this is, children, transferred epithet. Now, what is transferred epithet? We've done it before, but I'll explain you again. Now, who we're talking about sleepless? Sleepless means without sleep, the poet. But here the word sleepless comes with the word eyes. The eyes is not sleepless. The poet is sleepless. So, the word sleepless is transferred, means it's shifted from the poet to the eyes. Therefore, it is called transferred epithet. So, 10 days and nights with sleepless eyes. So, we talk about the poet being sleepless. Then if you look into your book, you have some for self-study children. You have the fifth one question. Copy any 2 stanzas of the poem in the line below and use a colored pen under the stressed syllable. Now we have already done syllables, okay, in the earlier video. So you can put a stress mark there over any syllable. Then complete the line of the poem by choosing proper pairs of rhyming words and make it meaningful. The 6th question that you have to do on your own. That's for self-study. Then the 7th one is writing a poem that you need not do it. The 8th one, go through the poem and the appreciation. Okay, so appreciation we have done. And then you have, lastly, you have one project. Okay, that is question number 9 that you have to do for self-study. Okay, so this is what all the poem is all about, children. We have finished up with the self-study. Please see that you do the English workshop, and I've given you a very small assignment too. Please complete the assignment. Basically, when you do the assignment, what happens, children? You are able to understand better. You know how much you have understood of the poem, okay, according to the marks or whatever you get. Don't get discouraged by the marks you see. But I would always advise you, please don't do the assignment without seeing the tutorial, without seeing the videos. Please don't go to solve. Don't give it, okay, I'll try and see how much marks I get. No. First, listen to the lesson, listen to the video, and then alone will you go back and see the assignments. Okay. So thank you, children, for giving me a listening ear, and God bless you.